Welcome back to Study Skills for Success in College. This is Chapter 6, Part 3, Creative Thinking and Decision-Making Skills. In our last lecture, we discussed the second step of the process of thinking, specifically integrated thinking, generate ideas. We talked about the importance of creative thinking, and we looked at a couple of theories on that topic. We also covered techniques for creative thinking, including brainstorming and visualization, and we discussed how using analogies can be helpful in generating new and unique ideas. And in this lecture, we'll discuss the following. Decision making, which is step 3, also known as critical thinking. We will get into the details of critical thinking and decision making, and then we'll talk about step 4, which is implementation and evaluation. In other words, putting it into practice. We'll also talk about what's referred to as almost the final step, or feedback, which is the last step in the thinking process stages, and then we'll have some final thoughts. Step 3, decision making. In this step, we shift from creative to critical thinking to evaluate each idea. Remember, in step 2, we used a lot of creative thinking and we did a lot of brainstorming, and we talked a lot about how it's not a good idea to restrict yourself. Just brainstorm, just put some ideas out there, and that's what step 2 was all about. With step 3, it's a little bit different. Now it's critical thinking, because we're going to evaluate each of the ideas that we put out there in step 2, or the combination of ideas, so that we can decide on how to move forward. Basically, we're weighing the pros and cons of each of the ideas that we brainstormed in step 2 so that we can choose the best one or ones. There are lots of definitions of this thing called critical thinking. A guy named Robert Ennis, in a book he wrote called Critical Thinking, critical thinking is a process. He says critical thinking is a process, and the goal is to make reasonable decisions about what to believe and what to do. Diane Romaine, in her book Thinking Things Through, Critical Thinking for Decisions You Can Live With, argues critical thinking consists of those activities of the mind that are indispensable to making decisions we can live with. The process involved in critical thinking includes becoming aware of our emotions and reflecting on them, identifying our values, assessing information and the authorities who provide it, analyzing and clarifying language, imagining solutions to problems, evaluating alternative solutions, and assessing and producing arguments. That's a very long definition, that second one. But in order to define critical thinking, one must be specific, because by virtue of the defining characteristics of the word critical, specificity is important. That's why these definitions are so involved. And what they have in common is reasoning or assessing, analyzing and evaluating, and decision making. Critical thinking is about looking at facts or ideas objectively, which means without emotion or opinion, and then using logic to arrive at a decision. Note that critical thinking skills, like all thinking skills, can be developed and improved through practice. Critical thinking relies on logical thinking. Anytime you evaluate, make judgments, or make decisions, you're using logical thinking. But just what is logic? When I first started college, my first semester, a very long time ago, I went to a college in Redding, California, called Shasta College. One of the first classes amongst 5 that I took was called logic. Now, in today's world, logic is embedded in a class called philosophy. But my class was simply called logic, and I was thrilled. Now, looking back on it, I'm very thrilled that I took that class and not a philosophy class that embedded logic in it, because The purpose, the objective of my logic class was to come to understand logic and its uses. That's it. There were no other philosophical things thrown in the class, and I just really gained so much from it. It was great. I would urge you, if you ever get a chance to take a logic class, do it. The reason I say that is because it helps you with decision making. It actually improves your life if you put into practice those things that you learn in a logic class. Great stuff. But one part of logic relies on your past experiences and knowledge, and another part of it relies on your ability to reason what we call deductively and inductively, or deductive and inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is a form of logical thinking where you reach a conclusion based on true facts called premises. For example, you may have the following premises. Okay, let's start with a premise. Students who develop good study skills improve their grades. Next premise. Mary has developed her study skills by going to the Learning Center or Resource Center. The conclusion is Mary's grades will improve. Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? In this example, you used deductive reasoning to reach a true conclusion. The conclusion in deductive reasoning is always true if the premises are true. Thanks to deductive reasoning, Mary should feel confident that with her improved study skills will come improved grades. Now, keep in mind that with deductive reasoning, it is true that it is always true if the premises are true. The premises here were, the first was, students who develop good study skills improve their grades. That is a true premise. Now you may be thinking, I've studied for a test and not done well. Well, you didn't study effectively. It's not me being a critique or me saying that you're dumb or anything like that. What it's saying is that if you would have studied effectively, that would have meant, by definition, that you would have passed the test. Therefore, when we say the premise, students who develop good study skills improve their grades, is true, the reason we can stand firm on that with a good foundation is because of the word good. Good study skills. If they're good, by virtue and definition, they're going to create good grades. It's also worth pointing out that by going to the Learning Resource Center, Mary took action that could prevent a potential crisis, such as failing her first semester. And like we discussed in the previous lesson, this represents what we called proactive thinking, or thinking ahead to prevent a problem. In contrast, a lot of people wait for the problem to occur and then they react to the crisis. That's called reactive thinking, as we discussed. Another type of logical thinking is inductive reasoning. Here you make your best guess based on the premises or facts. Your conclusion is very likely to be true, but it isn't guaranteed, like in the last of what we discussed. That is, it's not guaranteed, as is deductive reasoning, if your premises are true. Here's an example of inductive reasoning. Premise. People who smoke have an increased risk of getting lung cancer. Next premise. Bill smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day for 20 years. Conclusion. Bill will get lung cancer. Now, although the risk to Bill is much greater than someone who has not smoked, it's quite possible that Bill will get lung cancer. The conclusion may not be true. He might never develop lung cancer in his whole lifetime. But his best decision would be to stop smoking. That would be proactive thinking, to prevent the potential for the future health crisis of lung cancer. So, given this information, how do you make a good decision? Let's say that your opportunity for positive change idea, and we're going back to step 1, opportunity for positive change, is getting on a consistent workout schedule. You've brainstormed a list of ideas. Let's take a look at those ideas. Number 1, working out in the morning which means if I do a workout in the morning, it means that I'll have to get up 30 minutes earlier each day. Number 2, work out 6 days a week with 1 rest day. Number 3, work out as soon as I get home from work each day. Number 4, mix weight training with aerobic training. Number 5, alternate weight training with aerobic training throughout the week. Number 6, pay for a gym membership. Number 7, work out at home. Now notice, based upon the fact that numbers 6 and 7 really we can assume are opposing ideas, you can deduct from that this is just a brainstorming list, right? This person just brainstorming all the possibilities. Number 8, work out with my buddy from work. Number 9, use YouTube videos for my aerobic workouts. And number 10, purchase a stationary bike. Now it's time to review your list of ideas, as well as any relevant past experiences you may have, and input from others to help you make the best possible choice. So we're taking this list of brainstorming possibilities, and then we're critically thinking about them. Remember to gather information from all sources, including those that may not agree with your current views. Now, use your logical thinking to analyze your options. Most texts suggest listing the pros and cons for each idea, and this is a very good place to start. But you should also use proactive thinking by considering the short and long-term effects of each idea. Let's take a look at a written analyzing or analyzation of these possibilities, these 1 through 10 possibilities for the great idea for change, in this case, working out on a consistent basis. For number 1, which is work out in the morning, which means I'll have to get up 30 minutes early, this means that I'll probably need to get to bed a little earlier at night. Need to talk to Sarah. Where did that come from? Need to talk to Sarah means probably something like I need to talk to my wife because this could affect her schedule as well if I get up 30 minutes earlier, etc. For number 2, where his idea was maybe I could work out 6 days a week with 1 rest day, my rest day could be Sunday, since we go to church by 9, and Sundays are days that I've committed to family time. Number 3 is work out as soon as I get home from work each day. And his thoughts on that, his critical thinking on this prevents me from having to wake up 30 minutes earlier each day, but it also means that I'll have to get 2 showers each day since I always shower before work in the morning. For number 4 on mixing weight training with aerobic, this is a good balance, but will 30 minutes be enough time while still gaining the benefits that I hope to experience? Call Tim. What's he thinking here? He's thinking, well, my workout I've decided is going to be 30 minutes long. If I include aerobic and weight training, that's only 15 minutes per, I'm splitting up the types of training that I do. Will that be enough to gain me the benefits that I hope to gain? Now the call Tim's part is he's got a friend who he knows does this kind. He works out every day and he knows all about this sort of stuff. So he's going to call his friend. Number 5, which is the response to alternate weight training with aerobic training throughout the week. He says, this sounds good, but are the benefits to either or both negated when limiting each to every other day? So this is basically the same concern that he has in concern number 4, where he says, if I include weight and aerobic training in a 30-minute period of time, is that going to be enough? Well, he's saying here, if I do 1 for 30 minutes one day and then 1 for 30 minutes another day, is that going to negate the benefits? Call Tim. Number 6, pay for a gym membership. We need to look into the costs and locations. Number 7, work out at home. I'll need some equipment. What should I purchase? Look at that, number 6. Number 6 there, I made a typo. Pay fro a gym membership. Okay, I'll have to go in and fix that. Okay, number 7, work out at home. Response, I'll need some equipment. What should I purchase? Number 8, work out with Shalimar, my buddy from work. This would be nice, but I'll have to negotiate a schedule with him. Number 9, use YouTube videos from my aerobic workouts. Response, I'll have to find a YouTube channel that fits my needs. And number 10, purchase a stationary bike. Well, I'll need to look into quality and cost. Okay, so that's very similar to, right, if I pay for a gym membership, those are the things I'll have to do. All right. So let's take a look at a possible final list of decisions made after these 2 steps were processed. So this is the final decision regarding workouts. I'm going to begin my workout at 6:15 each morning. I'm going to alternate weight training workouts with aerobic workouts. I'm going to start with 15-pound weights, curls, military, and tricep kickbacks. I'm going to start with 3 8-minute stationary bike workouts with 2-minute rests. Notice that we're getting more detailed. Okay, we have the idea, we brainstorm, and then we critically negotiate the possibilities in that last step. And then here, it's down to the details, right? Because we've made a decision. Sundays are rest days. Saturdays are buddy workout days with Shalimar. We will use YouTube videos for the aerobic workout part of it. Okay. So, as we get through days, weeks, months of this new plan, we're going to inevitably make changes along the way, but the important thing is we've taken action, right? In exercise 6-6, you'll analyze the positive and negative effects of your ideas, and I would urge you to make sure you do this exercise. Wow, it seems like we took a long time to get to the point where we actually put our ideas into action. But consider that with practice, these steps will become so automatic, you'll go through the process quickly, depending on the size and the complexity and the importance of the opportunity. If the opportunity for positive change, say, is choosing the right meal, this only takes a few minutes. If it's making a major change in your life, like choosing a major in school to attend, it's going to take some more time. But the end result will be worth the effort. When putting your idea into action or implementing your idea, you should take a moment to consider your approach. Beyond what you need to do to carry out your idea, is there anyone you should talk to? More important, how will you evaluate the outcome? The first part of this step is implementation, but equally important is this second part, evaluation. This is important not only to chart your progress. Remember our SMART, SMART goals, which I said were measurable. So charting your progress, but also it's important to give you some feedback to kickstart the next cycle of integrated thinking. Exercise 6-7 guides you through some questions that will help you make your idea a reality. And I would say make sure you do that. Notice that the feedback loop in figure 6-8 can lead back to either a new opportunity for positive change or more idea generation. Once you implement your ideas, you may find they've opened related doors or opportunities that can lead you back to step 1. This is a good thing. This expanding cycle of positive change is what carries you forward in life. Another possibility is that once you implement your idea or ideas and gain some feedback, you realize you need to modify your plan. This might lead you back to step 2, where you can generate more ideas, potentially creating a cycle where you continue to assess and improve your plan. Of course, another outcome is when you reach a point where you've done all there is to do with an opportunity. There's no more room for change in that area, or the problem is completely solved. Remember to get feedback from as many sources as possible. The more feedback you receive, the better your ability to evaluate the success of your idea and make adjustments if it's necessary. Although these 5 steps may seem like a lot, it's well worth the effort. More to the point, You're worth the effort. With practice, these 5 steps will become second nature for you. Some final thoughts here. Just the process of going through these steps will help you to understand and therefore improve your thinking processes. For most small issues, this formal process is done more or less subconsciously. You aren't even aware that you're doing it, so you really don't need to go to the work of writing down all of these things. But it can be very powerful to take one opportunity related to your professional life, say, and one opportunity related to your personal life, and then work through these steps. The results, if you work through the steps completely and don't shortcut, the results will amaze you. But it's best to choose only one issue in each area of your life to maintain a sharp focus and to avoid becoming overwhelmed. That could easily happen, particularly if you're going to go through all these steps. In exercise 6-8, ponder one opportunity for positive change in your personal life and one opportunity for positive change in your professional life. I hope these concepts and tips have been helpful. Let's take a look at what we've learned. I know you guys have enjoyed this music. Does it get stuck in your head like it does me? It takes like 10 minutes for this tune to go away. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting you. Take care. Thanks for joining me on this, guys. Take care of yourself.